Let's talk WWE King and Queen of the Ring from this past Saturday in Jeddah. Yeah, it was Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I got confused for a minute because they also announced that Crown Jewel will be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, coming in the first weekend of November, I believe. So they announced that during the show. So I got a little bit confused there. But this one was in Jeddah. It was this past Saturday. A loaded card. Really good show from top to bottom. And as I'm recording this, Monday Night Raw is going on. Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch are going at it in a steel cage right now. So we will see how that one finishes. But let's talk about their match from this past Saturday. Liv Morgan, not necessarily ending the revenge tour, but a really big stop, winning the Women's World Championship from Becky Lynch. Becky losing it in her first title defense. Of course, like I said, rematch happening right now on Monday Night Raw. Looks like it could be the swan song of Becky Lynch for a little while. Seems like her contract runs out this month. I hesitate to say that it does run out this month because I'm not in WWE legal. I'm not Triple H. I'm not Nick Khan. I'm not on the board of TKO. I don't have access to those things. I'm only reading what the dirt sheets are reporting. Now, there are some very reliable sources that are reporting that her contract ends at the end of this week, which would effectively be at the end of this month. So we tend to believe that that is the case. However, WWE has not said that, so we don't know for sure. Now, Becky Lynch did have a backstage promo with Lyra Valkyria tonight, and some of the things she said very much alluded to the fact that her contract is running out and she's not going to re-sign. I believe that. I have the tendency to think that we have seen the last of Becky Lynch as a full-time competitor. I do believe she'll take some time away from WWE, maybe a year, maybe 6 months, maybe come back around Royal Rumble time, maybe make a surprise return, and she's a part-time competitor. And she'll wrestle Rumble to WrestleMania, and we'll get her at the big events, what have you. They'll bring her back for Saudi, but she will not be a regular on TV like she is right now. Having said that, I do not believe she'll sign with AEW. I do not believe she'll sign a full-time deal with New Japan, Impact, or TNA, whatever they're going by now these days. I don't believe she'll sign a deal with any of those. Now, might she make an appearance for New Japan? And I think that could be part of a WWE deal. Yeah, I think we mentioned that last week. But regardless, I think we have seen the last of Becky Lynch as a full-time competitor. And you know what? That's okay. Becky Lynch has done a lot of great things in this business and will continue to do great things outside of the ring as well. She's a mom. We know that Seth Rollins has been vocal about, time is precious and his kids are growing up and he wants to be there. And I'm sure Becky feels the exact same way. So we will have to see what the future of Becky Lynch holds. But for now, we will enjoy this one last match going on Monday Night Raw while we can. And we will look back on the career of Becky Lynch and hopefully she'll be back sooner rather than later. But only time will tell. Let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about Liv Morgan, who won the match with help from Dominic Mysterio, surprise, surprise, who said he flew all the way across the world to make sure Mommy's championship did not fall into the hands of Liv Morgan, but slid that chair in the ring, confused Becky Lynch. That moment of hesitation allowed Liv to capitalize and become the Women's World Champion. Now we've seen this tension between Dom and between Liv, and we saw Liv last week, I think it was last week, with Dom's bandana just poking out of her pocket. We saw them come out of a locker room together in the background of a shot. I don't think they can keep them apart much longer. Let's put it that way. I have the tendency to believe that they should put them together. They should officially be together the night that Rhea Ripley comes back. So let's say that best case scenario, Rhea Ripley comes back Money in the Bank. She's ready to go by SummerSlam. well, then your money match is obviously Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Now, I'm not predicting who's going to win that match. I know a lot of people just think Rhea should just take the belt back and whatever. Could go the other way, but my prediction would be that Liv wrestles someone at Money in the Bank, and Dom officially aligns himself with Liv, helps her out. They're celebrating in the ring. Boom, Rhea Ripley's music hits. She shows up. The place goes nuts, and just what Dom didn't want. He didn't want Mommy to find out that Liv had the championship. He didn't want Mommy to find out that he was part of it. He didn't want Mommy to find out that he's maybe sneaking around with Liv Morgan or whatever. And boom, she shows up, and there we go. Instant babyface Rhea Ripley, and the heat goes on Dom that much more. And, of course, Liv Morgan as well. So would be very interested to see how they line that up. Again, if Rhea is not ready by SummerSlam, I don't know how much you can drag out Liv and Dom being separate, and are they not, what have you. Again, all this may be a moot point by the end of this Raw match here in a couple of minutes. So as I continue to go through this King and Queen of the Ring recap, I'm so used to saying just King of the Ring. That's what it was for forever. King and Queen of the Ring recap. As I'm going through it, I'll circle back and I'll keep an eye on. I've got Monday Night Raw on right over here. So I'll keep an eye on that, and because again, it might be a moot point. Dom may join Liv tonight. I don't know. So could be a moot point. We'll talk about it here in a minute. Let's talk about Sami Zayn retaining the Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match against Bronson Reed and Chad Gable. The match delivered for sure. Andy and I were on the podcast last week, and we both said that we weren't necessarily great, or weren't necessarily high on this match. Weren't looking forward to it. We assumed that Bronson Reed would eat the pin, as he did. But the real story of the match, and we saw it continue to develop on Monday Night Raw tonight, is this tension between Otis and Chad Gable, specifically Chad and the rest of the Alpha Academy, but more specifically at King and Queen of the Ring, it was Chad and Otis. Chad trying to get him to help him. Otis kept questioning himself, and then when he finally went to help him, boom, he accidentally hit Chad, just adding more fuel to the fire. WWE doing their best to try to get Otis back to that pre-pandemic spot where he was so popular. They're doing a great job. Lots of chance for Otis tonight. He's such a lovable guy. He's such a popular character. You got to think we're going Chad Gable Otis at SummerSlam. Hopefully Otis will get the big win there. Awesome moment for Sami Zayn to be able to successfully defend the Intercontinental Championship in Saudi Arabia. We know he didn't go there for a long time, but it seems like he's there now and he's embracing it. And again, I'm not going to get into all those particulars, quite frankly, because I don't know all the details of that, and I don't want to say something incorrect. But regardless, Sami is able to enjoy being in Saudi Arabia and having this awesome moment. So a fun match, really good triple threat match. I definitely enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Let's talk about the Queen of the Ring final. Now, before that we get into the Queen of the Ring final, on SmackDown, I think it was before SmackDown, actually, when they did the press conference, Triple H announced, what do you know? I'm watching Raw. There's Dominic Mysterio. Here we go. Okay. So Triple H announces that the winner of both the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments would be able to get a shot at SummerSlam at the world titles of their brands. So what that means is that Nia Jax, after defeating Lyra Valkyria in the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament, is going to be the one to get the shot at seemingly Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam. She is on SmackDown. A hard-fought battle, though, by Lyra Valkyria. Bayley versus Nia, very interesting matchup for sure. I'll be interested to see, man, if Bayley keeps the title. I don't know. I've not been a huge fan of Nia, but I could see them putting the title on her. Honestly, it makes sense. I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Really cool finish to the Lyra Valkyria versus Nia Jax match. Lyra going for a second rope power bomb, but Nia countering it with the Annihilator. Really cool. Really innovative finish. And definitely, I mean, you could have counted to 100. Nia Jax winning that match. And, you know, I'd like to see, oftentimes we see in I'm watching Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw ended with a face-off between Dom and Liv Morgan. Liv retaining her championship. It looked like that Braun Strowman came out as Judgment Day was at ringside. Braun Strowman came out and was chasing Judgment Day around the ring, and Dom hit the cage door as the cage door was open as he opened it for Becky. He hit the cage door. It hit Becky in the face and allowed Liv to crawl out. So very interesting finish. And then those two face to face. I would be interested to see Nia Jax change her character and become Queen Nia Jax. I think it fits her more than I don't want to say it fits her more than it fits Gunther, but we'll talk about him in a minute. But we often see the King and Queen of the Ring change their gimmick. We saw Xavier Woods tap into it a little bit, but he still did a lot of the New Day stuff. We saw Zelina Vega completely embrace it, as rightfully she should. Wade Barrett did it. Booker T did it. Owen Hart became the King of Hearts when Owen won it. Mabel became King Mabel. So lots of people change their gimmick when they win this tournament. So I think this would fit Nia Jax because a lot of people don't like Nia Jax. We haven't spoke too fondly of her on this podcast, if I'm being honest. I think a character change would help her out a lot. And I think it's a great time to do that now that she's won this tournament. She's won the crown. It just feeds more into her heel character. So I think that should be a way to go for Nia Jax and her change. I mentioned Gunther. Gunther winning the men's King of the Ring tournament against Randy Orton. Controversial finish, but a good finish. Still trying to protect Randy. I'm anxious to see what they do with that this Friday on SmackDown, how that gets addressed. Does that grant Randy a shot at Cody? I don't know. Maybe. Does that mean Triple H hinted at it in the interview that he did? Does that mean rematch between Gunther and Randy Orton possibly at Clash at the Castle? I don't know. In any event, the match was exactly what it needed to be. It was slow, as we figured it would be, but it wasn't full of Randy Orton rest holds and all that kind of stuff. It was good. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Slow, methodical, yet awesome between these guys. A perfect King of the Ring final. There's a lot of talk about Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga. Lots of possibilities there, but Gunther versus Randy Orton, a fantastic match, a fantastic way to end this tournament. As Andy has said, one of the best King of the Ring tournaments in history. I tend to agree, but Gunther coming out on top. And maybe Gunther, we saw them say the King General instead of the Ring General. I would like to see him embrace it a little bit, but don't call him King Gunther and don't come out in the crown and the robe and all that kind of stuff. Because you're good just like you are. Let's not change that. Let's say. Swig a Mountain Dew for the worker, man. Hang tight. Those of you on the YouTube channel might be distracted by that, and I apologize. All right. Let's move on to Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. Cody retaining the undisputed Universal Champion. Undisputed Universal Championship. They've ditched the Universal, it seems. And you would think that'd be a slip of the tongue for me, but they had it on a graphic at the show. So I'm really confused as to why they had it on a graphic, because they haven't said it in several weeks. So I'm not quite sure if that means anything or what. But regardless, Cody Rhodes defeating Logan Paul, retaining his championship. A really, really, really great match. Probably not Logan's best I have the tendency to go back to that Roman Reigns match as Logan's best match that he's had in WWE, but regardless, a great match. Cody has put on 2 bangers since he has become the undisputed WWE champion. Of course, the first one being at Backlash with AJ Styles, and now with Logan Paul. Just some really good stuff, really good storytelling throughout this match. The drone shot of Logan Paul doing the frog splash, man, that was so cool. A unique way to see that. And apparently, according to Reddit and some things floating around, my buddy Jason Backwood sent this to me. Shout out to you, bro. Apparently this was Logan Paul's idea, that he wanted to do the drone shot, wanted to do something creative. Apparently he pitched it for WrestleMania and it had like venue issues or something. I don't know for sure. Regardless, super cool shot. Again, really fun match. Cody hitting a vertebreaker in WWE. Oh my gosh. That was wild. You wonder, because the ref was knocked down at that point, you wonder if the ref would have like called a DQ or something, if he would have seen it. But the really interesting story coming out of this, one more point, and I'll get that interesting story. I hate that Cody had to use 3 crossroads in this match to get it done. I feel like that is saved for special occasions. He didn't do it for AJ Styles. I don't know why he had to do it for Logan Paul, but regardless, he did it. It's fine. Hate that he had to do it, though. The story of this match, though, that has the internet wrestling community just buzzing, is this Michael Cole versus Logan Paul feud. I mean, we know that Michael Cole is very vocal about his feelings toward Dominic Mysterio and has been ever since he feuded with Ray back at WrestleMania 39 and all that kind of stuff. So we know that without Vince McMahon in the fold, Michael Cole the reins have been taken off, and Cole's been able to be more of himself, express his feelings, and that's all well and good. We're all for that because Michael Cole is solidifying himself as one of, if not the greatest play-by-play announcer in the history of wrestling. And he's been able to do that in the last 2 years or whatever it's been. But his interactions with Logan Paul at King and Queen of the Ring was just incredible. Calling him a loser, getting up in his face. I mean, are we busting out the orange singlet? Are we going to see Michael Cole versus Logan Paul? I mean, who knows? A lot of people are saying that Corey Graves can be the caveat for Michael Cole. He can jump in and have the match with Logan Paul. He did get in between them with pay-per-view. That was cool, but I think the more likely scenario is Pat McAfee versus Logan Paul at some point. You talk about a social media headline. You talk about mainstream viewership, mainstream attention on the WWE. You take Logan Paul, one of the biggest YouTube creators, content creators, most well-known people in the social media sphere, versus Pat McAfee, who has one of the top talk shows in the world of sports right now, is a well-known figure, former NFL player. I mean, you talk about the sports world, not just wrestling, the sports world, grabbing that headline, man. Promos those two guys could cut against each other. And then the bell rings. And then the athleticism between those two guys. Oh, man. Sign me up, because I think that is a money match. Whether that's at SummerSlam, whether it goes all the way to WrestleMania, I don't know. But, man, sign me up.